Hey, welcome to the CMO Whisper Show. I'm your host, Steve Olensky. Part marketing practitioner, part ad agency veteran, part journalist. I was a writer for Forbes for 10 years. I've had so many insightful conversations over the years with business leaders, to athletes, to celebrities, to, of course, CMOs. The only difference now is instead of sharing those insights through written form, I'm doing it this way. Last time, Alan Bethke, Senior Vice President of Marketing for Subaru of America, joined me on the show. We talked about the heart of Subaru's Love campaign and why this brand has such a unique emotional connection with its customers. Now, if you missed that episode, definitely go back and listen. Not yet, after this one. It's literally one of the most memorable conversations I've had. Today, I'm thrilled to have Alan back, but this time, he's not alone. Joining him is Matt Bershadker, he'll correct me if I'm wrong. Lord knows I'm probably wrong. President and CEO of the ASPCA. Not only that, we're recording live at Subaru headquarters in Camden, New Jersey. Now, Subaru of America and the ASPCA have been partners for 17 years. Subaru is the ASPCA's largest corporate sponsor, donating more than $41 million over the years. The support has helped rescue, treat, transport, and rehome more than 250,000 animals across the U.S. Every October, more than 600 Subaru retailers team up with local shelters to host adoption events, sometimes right inside their showrooms, as part of the Subaru Loves Pets program. Through it, they cover adoption fees, provide supplies, and make sure people leave ready to be the best parents they can be. Now, this year alone, Subaru and its retailers will provide over $3 million in direct funding through ASPCA grants to prepare animals for adoption. And together, they've shined a spotlight on overlooked underdogs. Those are senior dogs and those with special needs. Even creating National Make a Dogs Day on October 22nd, a day to celebrate and adopt those dogs who are often left behind. With all that in mind, it's going to be an amazing conversation. I want to welcome back Alan Bethke to the show. Welcome, Alan.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me be here.
Totally my throw. And Matt, I'm sure I butchered your last name, Bershadker.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
But say your name for us.
Bershadker. You were close.
Ah, damn. Okay. I'll get it in post. Okay. I really want to jump in with some questions that both of you can shine in on and answer. And the first one is about Subaru and the reputation around dogs and its advertising. So let me start with you, Alan. With so many commercials in the marketing featuring pets, how do you differentiate? You know, you're creative, but it feels so uniquely Subaru because obviously dogs are not only for Subaru.
Yeah, correct. I think it's a great question. And dogs and car advertising recently, I think, has become quite popular. But Subaru was, I think, really first to this space. We've been using pets in our advertising for a long time. And I think that helps us be authentic and genuine with that connection with pets and with our customers. We actually started our dog advertising all the way back around 2009. And we did something that was totally unique and crazy at the time. We had dogs driving cars, acting as human beings. And it made people laugh, just like you did. And it got people's attention. And from there, we built on that campaign. We later created a group of dogs that we call the Barkleys. And maybe you're familiar with that. It's a family of dogs that live human lives driving Subaru products. And again, it makes people laugh and enjoy pets. And that's the point. And on top of all of that, the Barkleys driving vehicles, you mentioned it in your intro, but we created something that we call National Make a Dogs Day, which was an effort not only to focus on pets, but also helping pets. And so we use advertising every October to help support the adoption and support of loving animals that are in shelters. And we can talk a little bit more about that today. And then, of course, we do what other car companies do, which is just put dogs in car commercials in a regular, traditional way.
Right.
And, through all of that, I would say that Subaru's had a longstanding, genuine, authentic connection with pets, I think, before a lot of our competitors. And not only to put pets in advertising, but to help pets and to make a difference in our world for these pets that we love.
Matt, from your perspective, I'm sure authenticity, everybody talks about that word today in every part of everything we do. Talk about it from ASPCA's vantage point of being with a company like Subaru that truly lives and breathes the authenticity.
Yeah, thank you for that. It is part of Subaru's corporate DNA, this connection with community, this connection with pets, identifying and understanding the power of love and that connection that people have, the human-animal bond. And the authentic part that Alan spoke about, I think, is really, really important because consumers are savvy and they can see through it when it's not. And to further underscore that point, Subaru uses real rescues in their campaigns. They use a 3-legged dog named Lincoln. They use a senior dog named Angus. These are some of the harder animals to adopt out of shelters because the perception is that they're more difficult or that they're going to come with challenges. The reality is far from that. And Subaru makes that point very, very clear through their Underdogs campaign and through highlighting real life rescue stories. And we're incredibly grateful for that and aligns beautifully with some of our strategic priorities.
So great segue into the Underdogs. I want both of you guys to talk about that because obviously it's a different connotation, but in this context, I love what it means about senior dogs and those with special needs. So where did the inspiration come from for this campaign? And Matt, I can start with you.
I think the inspiration actually came from Subaru's side. So it might be better to start with Alan. What I would say before I pass it off to Alan is that we at the ASPCA for a long time have identified the need to highlight these animals, to get people to see past the aesthetic into their souls, into their hearts. And Subaru really captures that in their advertising, and people connect deeply with their advertising and with the dogs that are featured in it.
Take us through the inspiration behind this whole campaign.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we have something that we've been doing with ASPCA for a long time. It's actually through the Share the Love event. And the Share the Love event is different than the Underdogs and National Make a Dogs Day, but the Share the Love event focuses on helping adopt dogs and support dogs at the end of the year. And National Make a Dogs Day was something that Subaru wanted to create more during the middle of the year, or towards the middle anyway. And at Subaru, we wanted to create a special day where we could ask for pet owners to do something special for their pets. And if you are able to also consider adopting a pet. So when we were thinking about that idea, we started to look at how can we make it special? How can we make it more unique and really find an area of pets in the pet community that was being underserved. And so we had some initial conversations with ASPCA. This is about 8 years ago now. And those initial conversations were, what are the dogs that need the most help? And those types of animals that Matt just described a minute ago were identified to us. The ones that were older, the ones that were bigger, the ones that might have some sort of disability or some sort of need or challenge. And the ASPCA communicated to us that those dogs need the most help. So we created this campaign and special day. It's on October 22nd, and we called it National Make a Dogs Day. And the idea was if you have a pet at home, especially a dog, do something great for your dog on that day to celebrate them, because dogs love us and animals love us every year, every day. So let's do something for them special, of course, on every day, but also on that day. But in addition to that, we wanted to draw attention to these animals that are in the shelter, these animals that needed more help to get adopted. And so we coined that phrase, the Underdogs, in a loving way, in a special way, to bring attention that these dogs might have a few challenges, like Matt mentioned, that are on the outside, but those challenges really aren't challenges. These pets deserve to be in someone's home, and they can make great pets. And that's why we called them the Underdogs. I
love that, just the connotation of that phrase, underdog, right? And I'm a big sports fan. I don't know if you guys are, but you always hear that you root for the underdog, right? And the one who has the longest odds, right? And that kind of thing. So when I heard that it's called the Underdog, I'm like, I'm in. I want to talk about it. I want to give you guys the platform. Matt, I can see you beaming from ear to ear. I can tell this resonates with you very much.
Well, it raises so much awareness about these animals who do need help. I'll visit shelters all over the country, and you'll see puppies and cute younger dogs. And I don't worry about those. I know they're going to find a home. I worry about the seniors. I worry about the underdogs. And for Subaru to put the heft of their brand and their marketing behind shining a light on these animals, they've saved countless lives. And from a personal perspective, I think it's appropriate to share, about a year and a half ago, we adopted an underdog. She was about 10 years old. She now has 3 legs as a result of some horrific things, which we won't get into. only about a handful of teeth as well. And she is the light of our home. And she quickly came in and asserted herself as the boss with my two bigger dogs. And she runs around and people look, they say, oh, you said she only has 3 legs. I can't even tell. And you can't tell because her spirit is so large.
Wow.
And that's what you see with all of these animals. And again, to have Subaru identify this, to have them make it a main thrust of their efforts, it's huge. It's huge for the dogs sitting in shelters all across the country.
So, Alan, let's go back. How did this particular partnership with the ASPCA, how did this come about?
Yeah, so this is going back a ways. This is going back to about 2007. In 2007, Subaru was just starting to craft our love campaign. And as part of that, back in that year, we didn't have too many owners at Subaru. We were a smaller brand, but the owners that we did have, they were passionate about Subaru. And the one thing that we tried desperately to do was understand our owners, what made them unique, what made them special. And in doing that research with our owners, we found out some insight that we thought was very important. The first was the vast majority of our owners had pets. They were pet lovers. More than 70% of our owners back then had a pet. And they would often send us stories about their pet with them in their Subaru. Unsolicited. So that was a little bit of insight that we said our owners love pets and they're having their pet enjoy their life together as a family, including their Subaru as well. And so that was a little bit of a spark of an interest for us. And then on top of that, we had some additional research that said a lot of our owners liked to give back to charity. And when we dug a little bit deeper on that, we found out that giving back to animals and pets was particularly of interest to our owners. And on top of that, we found out that the ASPCA was the #1 pet organization that our owners all the way back in 2007 were donating to. And so with that information, we went on a quest to establish our brand in a unique way, the love campaign that we've talked about before. And we started to make a contact corporately with ASPCA to talk to them about creating a relationship that could help pets.
Alan knows this, Matt. I don't know if I talk to marketing leaders all the time, VPs, CMOs. This is not to blow smoke, but that's massive. It's one thing to see a picture of a car owner with a pet and go, well, that's cute. But you went beyond that. And you did the diligence, and I'm saying you, that's not just necessarily you, because I'm sure it's your team to see beyond that. Oh, it's not just this cute puppy picture in a Subaru. Oh my gosh, look at this. We keep getting these pictures. And then you dug it a little further and you found out the ASPCA. So that's cute. I mean, you guys, the brand could have just went, this is nice. This will make a nice social picture. But you went way, way beyond that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. For us, authenticity matters. And when you can identify who you are and who you want to be for the right reasons, that's a good place to start. And this insight from our owners, it came from our owners. The insight from our owners led us to pets and eventually to the ASPCA, and we've had a great relationship ever since.
Matt, why does this partnership work so well? There's no shortage of corporate nonprofit partnerships in the world. Why does this one work so well?
I think there's a few good reasons for that. And you're right. And this is a long-standing partnership. It's a very, very powerful relationship. The early conversations, what we saw immediately was there's deep mission and values alignment, right? This is part of being part of your community, giving back. It's not only good business, obviously, but it's part of who Subaru is in their corporate DNA. And we saw that early on. Our brand is our primary asset. And so therefore, we're really careful about who we partner with. And Subaru's reputation and their integrity, and they're known for their community engagement, that made it a natural fit for us. And the way Subaru leans into relationships, leans into the emotion and the love, it also made it a pretty natural fit for us. Because if you think about it, the entire animal welfare movement and the ASPCA, all 1,400 employees, they're here because they love animals. They want to change the world for animals. Animals are part of people's families. Pets are part of their families. We grieve their loss deeply. And Subaru understood all of that immediately or innately. And therefore, it became a very natural fit. And this alignment of love and the power of love and the power of the human-animal bond was really, I think, on display.
Alan, I want to ask you, you've been at this long enough. It doesn't mean you're old. We say we're
probably does.
We're saying experienced. Or seasoned.
I've got the gray hair to show it.
But these partnership opportunities come up all the time, whether it's nonprofit or not, right? We just heard from Matt why this one works.
Yeah.
But to my audience, right? What are some lessons that they can take from this partnership in terms of talking to other brand leaders like you?
Yeah, I would really echo a lot about what Matt said. I think finding a shared passion with an organization matters. And the more that you can do that for the right reasons and in the right way, the better. And once you find the right matchup, you can make it work if both are committed to it. And one thing I would say about the ASPCA, they've been great partners with Subaru. Of course, Subaru is a for-profit company. Mm-hmm. We're in business to sell cars and everything associated with that. But we want to spend our time, our efforts, our resources helping others and giving back to our world. And in working with the ASPCA, they are an excellent organization focused on the very important topic of pets. And working this relationship together has been amazing. We want to do the right things and we want to do it the right way. And so we lean on ASPCA for their knowledge, for their history, for their expertise, for everything that they know in their space, which is everything pets. And they've been great to help us not only do this on a national level, but do it locally with all of our retailers. We have about a little more than 640 Subaru retailers. We call our dealers retailers across the country. And the ASPCA helps us organize and localize our pet activations, not just nationally, but locally, so that we can have a national, local footprint. And for us, that's huge. And it's been a great relationship and something that we really cherish and value at Subaru.
Matt, from your perspective, giving you the floor to talk to nonprofit leaders like you, what lessons can you pass on from this partnership to those folks?
I think it's a lot of what Alan has said, the authenticity, the values alignment, ensuring that both parties really play a substantial role. And it is a partnership, right? It's not the corporate entity carving off a few dollars for the nonprofit, right? It is the truth. It is the power of the two entities together. What is it? The sum is greater than the parts. Mm-hmm. I think that's the key to a powerful corporate nonprofit for-profit partnership. It's not, again, as I said, it's not Subaru just donating a few dollars to us. It is together we create this powerful relationship. And hopefully we help Subaru sell a lot of cars because that's what we understand how important that is. We at the ASPCA and our staff, we have a lot of Subarus around here. So we try to do our part like that. But it really is making sure there's a values alignment, that there's integrity, that both partners are equal players. And finally, the other thing I would add about that I think makes this relationship powerful and special is it was really from, the top down, from Tom Dahl down. This relationship was embraced throughout the leadership at Subaru. And that makes a big difference.
Okay. Getting personal now. Al, I'm going to start with you. Your own experience as a pet owner or rescue owner.
Yeah.
Tell us about your and your family's experience.
Yeah. Well, my family's always had pets. I grew up with pets, primarily dogs and cats, growing up in Ohio. And then I met my beautiful wife, Julie, in college, and we've had dogs and cats ever since. The cats have always been adopted. And the dogs, probably our last 4 or 5 dogs since we kind of have been together, have all been adopted as well. I usually leave that to my wife. She starts looking at different shelters and finding dogs that basically you can fall in love with all of them, of course, but finding one that she really falls in love with first. She's in charge of naming the dog. Our current dog is a dog called Vegas Lightning, and he was adopted. He's a bit of an underdog. He is a very large dog. He is a Newfoundland mix, and he weighs about 95 pounds. He's the most gentle soul on the planet. And it's just a wonderful, loving part of our family. Before Vegas Lightning, we've had other dogs like Hollywood, also named by my wife, who was a boxer pit bull mix, also adopted, and dogs before that. And then all of our cats, their names are a little less exciting, but they've been adopted. So we're big believers in pets in general, mm-hmm. but also in this mission to help find homes for pets. And to do that in the right way. And we think that that's through shelters. There are a lot of pets that need a place to live, and we're glad to help be a little bit of that solution.
Yeah. Matt, I know you referenced your 3-legged angel earlier. Tell us about your other current and past pets.
Sure. So up until recently, we had 3. Unfortunately, Tarzan, who was rescued we adopted him from a rescue group in Texas Sadly, we had to euthanize him a little while ago, but he was a big, big angel and had also a tough beginning. He was a lab mix, about 90 pounds. And now we're left with Whiskey, who's our little three-legger, our tripod, who we talked about. And she's wonderful. And we also have a lab named Loki, who failed out of service dog school. And so we adopted him. And when we got him, he's amazing. He's this amazing dog, but he's also probably the most selfish dog you'd ever meet. And I now can see why he failed out of service dog school, because he doesn't do anything unless food's involved. So we have two now. My daughter, who's 11, she maybe plays the role that Alan's wife plays. She helps me find. She's constantly combing the internet looking. She said, Daddy, we had 3. We can get back to 3. And so Tova and I are often advocating for a 3rd. So we're thinking about going back to 3. It's a good number. Right now it's Whiskey and Loki.
Something tells me it won't be long.
I think that's right.
Well, listen, Alan, Matt, what you guys are doing together is nothing short of phenomenal. You're not just saving animals. You are really winning hearts, moving a few Subarus off the lot, of course, which doesn't hurt. Matt, huge thanks for being here today. I know your calendar is really busy. Again, thank you so much. Alan, you're not quite off the hook yet, so don't go anywhere. But Matt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. If I may, final thing I'd love to add is I really want to acknowledge the Subaru retailers and the important role that they play in raising awareness in the local community where they live and work about adoption. It's a key part of this partnership. So thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your discussion. And Alan, I look forward to seeing you in a week or two. So.
Yeah, Matt, sounds great. Thanks so much. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. All right, Alan, last time you were on the show, we dug into a lot of the Love campaign and why it struck a chord. And this time I want to flip the script and talk some shop. Now, Subaru's recent creative efforts, how you're putting the focus on the customer experience, and how you're steering marketing through all the changes coming our collective way. And I want to start with an economic outlook, if you will. And the first question is, how do you see economic headwinds and policy changes shaping automotive demand and marketing investment priorities for Subaru really heading into 2026 and beyond?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah, it is. You want some coffee first?
There's a lot in there. This is a really interesting time for the auto industry. Actually, the last 5 years have been quite interesting due to tariffs and microchip shortages and logistics issues throughout the planet. And currently, the industry is going through another interesting moment with tariffs. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly affecting all manufacturers, including Subaru. We have production facilities in the United States and also in Japan. And it's something that all of us are managing. But I do think that through all of these headwinds and challenges, Subaru has a lot of positives for our brand and for our company. I do think we have a very strong brand. We have excellent product. We have great retailers. And we have a great foundation, and these headwinds that are being challenged or faced by all brands can have some effect on every company, of course, especially probably a little bit on the bottom line due to the tariffs.
Yeah.
But Subaru's got this strong foundation, and with a great brand, great retailers, and great product, we're ready to challenge this current time and make our way through it.
Regarding the there's a transition from combustion engines to EVs and hybrids. We all know about that. But I'd love to get your thoughts on some opportunities and risks as you balance that traditional car versus EV and hybrid.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, and you're exactly right. The industry is going through a bit of a transition from traditional gas-powered vehicles into hybrids and into electrification beyond hybrids, and that might include plug-in hybrids or electric vehicles, full electric vehicles. And Subaru, the good news is prepared for all of that. We have a great lineup of gas-powered vehicles. We have 2 hybrids this year, Forester hybrid and Crosstrek hybrid, which is coming out very shortly. And then we've got 1 current all-electric vehicle and 2 more coming next spring, and then another one coming later next year. So we've got a wide range of vehicles in gas, hybrid, and full electric for consumers to choose from. And those products are excellent. They have great quality. They have great value. They have great capability. They have great safety. And we have great recognition for our products, like being named Consumer Reports #1 best overall brand and #1 best brand for quality. So we have a lot to be thankful in terms of our product and a great lineup for customers to choose from.
So lots of opportunities. Are there inherent risks involved? Is it managing customer demand?
There's always some of that. With the car business, it's kind of like a long cycle industry. What I mean by that is we have to prepare for the future far in advance. And so we're thinking about things 5, 6, 7 years down the road already. We're working on those things right now. And so things that are happening today, this month, this year, next year, that's more in the short term, believe it or not, for our industry and for Subaru. So we've got the right product mix. We have a lot of investments in our facilities, production facilities, and future advanced technologies to kind of make sure that we got the right product for the market.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens with either the government or the regulation, we want to have the right product for the consumer. It can be a great product for them for all of the reasons that Subaru wants, the things that are traditional to Subaru. And then also to make sure that we meet any kind of regulations that exist, of course.
Right. You mentioned the new models coming out. Are you getting any feedback so far? What is it?
Yeah, feedback has been great. So we've got a new Outback coming out right now. Just in a couple of months, feedback on that has been excellent. The sold orders or pre-orders, if you will, in the car have been very strong. We have the Forester Hybrid, which came out earlier this year. And actually, Forester Hybrid was just named by Consumer Reports as the best hybrid in its segment, beating all of its competitors from other top brands. So that's excellent, of course.
Yeah.
We have a Crosstrek Hybrid coming out shortly, as I mentioned before, and early reviews on that have been very positive. And then these EV products that I mentioned, we've had some great press on those. The press haven't driven them yet, so we're expecting very positive reviews when they start driving the newest ones. But they did drive our updated 26 model year Solterra, which is our current electric vehicle. And that Solterra's got so many product improvements, more range, faster charging, much better performance in cold weather, more technology, and it's a much better value overall. So the product reviews from the press who have driven that product, the Solterra electric vehicle, have been excellent.
Wow, that's really amazing. I want to pivot a little bit back to the love promise, which we talked a lot about. But I'm interested, how do you say how that translates to the customer commitment? Because you have this great love promise, that's amazing. But as a customer, I could go, okay, great. What does that mean for me?
It's an interesting question. So the love promise is really built on the foundation of providing love and respect for every interaction with Subaru, both with our company and with our retailers across the country. And the love promise has 2 foundational elements. One that we've talked a lot about before, that's our community commitment. That's giving back to local communities, all of the charity support, everything that we've been talking about in the past. But another very important part of the love promise is our customer commitment. And we've talked a little bit less about that in the past, but that customer commitment is so important because traditionally, I think we all know that buying a car or shopping for a car at a traditional car dealer has a lot of negative stereotypes. People don't like to do that. They're afraid to do it. It makes them anxious. And
it's like going to the dentist. I'll say it.
It's like, do I go buy a car or get a root canal? Oh, maybe I'll get the root canal. So there's a lot of traditional negative stereotypes with that. But at Subaru, being the company based on love, we want to change that fundamentally. And we want to make sure that when you interact with a Subaru retailer, you have a great experience, one that's very different. And so we created a love promise customer commitment. And that's a commitment across all of our retailers and across Subaru to treat all of our customers with love and respect. And we can talk a little bit about the changes over the years, but we've come a really long way in terms of providing now an excellent customer experience. That's when you're shopping for a car, buying a car, or servicing a car at Subaru, you can have an experience that you might actually love, not one that you're actually dreading. And we have some great metrics in history with that. It's
like you're looking at my questions. You're not speaking, are you? But I know you guys just announced this whole radical retail design, right? For the in-store, if lack of a better term, dealership locations.
Yeah.
Tell everybody about that, because I saw some pictures. It looks amazing for customer experience.
Yeah, you're right. We have a new facility design called the Connection Hub. That's kind of like an internal language, if you will. But the idea behind this new facility design is to make the customer experience something special at Subaru and different than a traditional car When you come into a Connection Hub facility, you want to feel like you're at home. You want to be a part of the Subaru family, and you want to be a part of the community. And the community is that part that we talked about before, giving back to local charities and making a difference in the places where we live in and work in. And that's where these Subaru retailers are at. They're in local communities. And then the second part is this customer experience, is that we want customers to feel special at Subaru. We want them to feel loved at Subaru. And we made such an improvement on that over the years. About 10 years ago, Subaru was ranked 15th for what they call sales satisfaction. That's a rating of how you're treated by car brands or by customers across the car industry. We're ranked 15th for sales satisfaction and 23rd for service satisfaction. That's a ranking. And those scores, you can imagine, probably aren't too good. So in the last 10 years, Subaru has made, along with our retailers, great strides on that through this Love Promise customer commitment effort. And now this year, J.D. Power ranks Subaru number 1 for customer service for service satisfaction and number 3 for customer service for sales satisfaction. So number 1 on one respect and number 3 on the other. And that's a long way from number 15 and number 23.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it really speaks to the focus on making sure that we provide our customers with service that they're going to love. And this new facility that you're talking about, that's going to help be the wrapper for that great customer service. It's going to make the human side and the physical side, the facility itself, all come together to give the customers an experience that is going to be uniquely Subaru.
Folks, I've seen pictures, and trust me, when these are ready, you're going to pick this over root canal. 10 times out of 10.
Well, we can hope.
No, trust me, it's really radical, and I'm not being hyperbolic. I saw this stat, and I still can't believe this stat about how many digital touch points car buyer looks at.
Yeah,
I did a double take, like more than 900 before they even walk into a dealership.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
How do you compete? Like 900?
Yeah, that's a lot. We do our best at Subaru to understand the customer journey and to make sure that journey is going to be one where the customers can find the information quickly and easily from Subaru. We've done our best to try to make that transparent and straightforward for our customers and for our shoppers. And then we want to track and measure all of that so that we're providing a great experience across all of those touch points. So the customer is on a digital journey.
Yeah.
They do that before they come to Subaru. They do that on their way to Subaru. They do that while with Subaru. They do that in the showroom and in the facility. They do that after they buy or purchase or service a car. And that's the world that we're living in now. So we use all of those digital touch points.
That's a great point, by the way, that it's not just once they drive off the lot, it doesn't end.
Correct. And there's a tremendous amount of technology in the vehicles now. So in the head units, that's kind of the screen interface that you would find in vehicles. There's all kinds of technology and interface. It's through your phone and through our applications. And so car is a digital experience now, and interacting with your car is a digital experience.
Yeah. Subaru has an online configurator, right? And there's reviews and digital experiences. All those are evolving. Are there barriers to making that like vision real? What are they?
Yeah, it's a good question. I do think the opportunities probably within the industry, and this would be at Subaru too, but within the industry, is to take the online experience, what the customer is doing online through these digital platforms, all of their research, and connecting that to the in-store experience and making that seamless and making that transparent and easy, so that any of the information or time or investment that the customer's made before they come to Subaru or on our platforms, they can utilize that once they get to the in-store experience. And Subaru's working on that, and that connection hub design and facility design that you were mentioning earlier. There's going to be a lot of kind of connection points, technologically speaking, to make this experience better. Again, the out-of-store and in-store experience. Connect
the brick and mortar.
Correct.
If that happens, you will crack the code, my friend. So other brands will be...
Well, we're working on it.
You'll be a case study.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a chance to talk about Subaru owners.
Yeah.
Right. And just seeing there's no shortage of, everybody has their favorites.
Yeah.
Whatever the brand is, but in this particular, what makes a Subaru owner so different?
Yeah. The one thing about Subaru owners, we do think they are unique and they are passionate. They are so passionate about their Subaru, and they are incredibly loyal to Subaru. And we'll talk a little bit about maybe the demographics or psychographics in a second. But yeah, when Subaru was a smaller brand in the United States, we didn't have a lot of owners, but the ones that we did have, they were so passionate about their car. They would keep their car forever, their Subaru. They would give it a name. They would make it part of their family. They wouldn't ever want to sell it. They would drive it until the wheels literally fell off. And once the wheels fell off, they put a new set of wheels on and hand it down to their kids. So it just became a part of their life and how our owners cared about their car. Even before we had the Love campaign, they truly loved their car. And I think a lot of brands just can't say that about their owners and about their products and about the connection of those two things. And because they had such a love of their car, that created immense loyalty. Subaru has very high loyalty, and these owners want to buy another Subaru. Our owners have great education. They're well educated. They have high income. They have enough money basically to buy any car they want. And a lot of our owners actually pay cash for their Subaru.
Wow.
Straight up cash.
Yeah.
So they can buy whatever they want. They have the financial resources, but they choose to buy a Subaru. So why? There's a connection between who these people are, what they care about, what they do in life, how they think in our brand and our products. They want a safe car. They want a high quality car. They want a capable car, and they want to make a smart investment with their money. And Subaru offers all of that to them. And I think that's a unique combination that other brands, whether they're bigger or smaller than us, they just don't quite have that.
No, they definitely don't have that. A member of the family. I mean, that's as strong as it gets.
Yeah.
And as you're talking, all I kept thinking was it's more than just a car.
Correct. Yeah. We have, it's interesting you say that. We have some marketing direction and kind of platform goals and language at Subaru. One is more than a car company. One is more than a car dealer, and one is more than a car. And it's interesting that you just said that because that is what we want to be and what we aspire to be. And we're on our road to that, but that's a road that probably never ends.
Oh, my, it shouldn't end.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it's supposed to end. I want to pivot to your career as a leader. You've been through a lot, right? The pandemic alone. We could spend the whole episode talking about that.
Yeah.
But you've been here more than a decade managing the Subaru big budget, purpose driven brand.
Yeah.
How would you say your style as a leader has evolved?
Yeah, I think it has, and it needs to. You know, a lot of things have changed in the last decade or 2 decades now. And I think as any leader, you have to evolve with the times. The industry is changing. The market is changing. The car business is changing. The employees are changing. And with that, got to kind of take what we've learned in the past and to evolve it into the future. And so I try to find a balance of that. How well I do it, I don't know. That's probably in question. But for me, it's a balance of what we've learned in the past, how we can take those positive learnings and be consistent, but evolve and not be complacent. So it's consistent without complacent for me. And that's a matter of remembering what we do well, remembering what the learnings are, and then identifying and charting what we think is the right course for the future, and then tracking and measuring that along the way, and then adjusting. And we've always got to adjust. We can't be complacent.
I will tell you, and I speak to leaders, like I said earlier, all the time. And the fact that you started off that question by saying you can't, I'm paraphrasing, but you can't sit still.
Yeah. You
just can't. Not only as a brand, but I'm asking you kind of as a leader, what you did 5 years ago, let alone 5 minutes ago, not in this age.
That's correct. Probably any industry, but the automotive industry specifically is a big industry. It's so competitive. In Subaru, even for all of our success, and we have been very successful, but even for all of our success, we're in a big industry with bigger competitors, with more budgets, more people, more resources, more everything. So how can we at Subaru continue to be David versus Goliath? How can we challenge this industry? How can we be unique? How can we be different? How can we continue to get more than our fair share of everything, of the business? And we want to do that by being aware of where we're coming from, but also not follow anybody else.
Yeah.
We want to be unique to Subaru. And when we do that, we can chart our own course. And I think that's a key differentiator.
Looking over your career, is there one kind of inflection point that you're most proud of? during your time at Subaru?
There is for me. I've been at Subaru for 22 years and change, and that's not the new guy. It's not the old guy. People work here for a really long time. And that says something about Subaru.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We have very long tenured employees, and that means that Subaru is a great place to work, and it is. And it means that we have great product, and we do. And it means that we've got great people at Subaru and great retailers, and we've got all of that. And for me, when I started in 2003. I was a district sales manager in Florida. And what that basically means is I was working for Subaru wholesaling or selling cars to our dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would retail them or sell them to actual customers. And starting with Subaru in 2003 in Florida, that was before the Love campaign. And Subaru was a very small brand back then, less than 1% market share. We were a challenger brand. We had these loyal customers. We had these passionate customers, but we just didn't have very many of them. And in Florida, there were even fewer. So Subaru was kind of an all-wheel drive only brand back then. And for me, there are two moments in my career that looking back, that I find very interesting for me and as key learning points. One was working in sales in Florida with Subaru before we had a true brand identity and before we had demand, and the challenges of what that meant and what our brand was and the things that we were up against. And when you face challenges, you learn a lot and you try to figure things out. And those were real challenges. And for me, then the second time was in 2008. I had moved already to the Subaru headquarters, and I was working in the marketing department. I was a manager, and I was in charge of making some of our creative, some of our advertising. And I had done that before at a different car company. I was doing that at Subaru. So I was familiar with that role, but we were in a pivotal time of our brand still was not doing well, and we still didn't have a brand identity. So I was a part of the team that made the switch to our current ad agency, Carmichael Lynch, and a part of the team that was trying to figure out what is our future brand strategy, and a part of the team that helped create the Love campaign. There were a lot of people working on that, including my bosses and including a lot of other people at the agency and in our marketing department. But for me to be a part of that and to witness that and how we did it, why we did it, what we knew, what we didn't know was important. And for me, just a pivotal change from when I first joined Subaru in 2003 to when we started the Love campaign in 2008 to now in 2025. What has happened in those 22 years? It's a lifetime of change and accomplishment. It's been great.
You have at least one book inside of you, I can see.
Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate that.
No, I mean, just the stories you could tell of just from where you were to where it's just not just you, but the brand.
Yeah, it is fascinating, and be a witness of part of it. Subaru had a long journey before I ever joined Subaru, of course, and there'll be a long journey after I'm not at Subaru. But,
right.
But for the time that I've been here, it's been very interesting and very rewarding, always challenging, even at good times challenging, but that makes it fun and exciting.
So as someone who's built a brand narrative around purpose, clearly you have with the Love campaign, how do you measure the impact of campaigns like that?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. When we started a lot of these efforts to kind of give back, the Love Promise and these charitable efforts, we had something that we shared internally with our employees and we shared with our retailers. And that language was something like, we're doing this not because it's good for business, but because it's the right thing to do. And
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please, so everybody in the back can hear that?
Yeah, we're doing this not because it's good for business, but because it's the right thing to do.
Thank you.
So we started these efforts in the car industry that's not about giving back to charity and focusing on things. The car industry is about selling cars and selling parts and selling service. That's what it's about, traditional things. And we were here at Subaru back in 2008 when we started the Share the Love campaign, in 2016 when we started the Love Promise. We were a car company that says, we're going to focus on doing those things, but we're going to focus a lot of our efforts on something that no one else is doing, these community commitments. And so when you make that change, you don't have a lot of metrics. You don't have a lot of proof. You don't have a lot of exact tangible reasons on why to do it. You've got belief and you have a vision. And we try to appeal to our employees and to our retailers in a emotional way that this is what Subaru is about. This is who we're going to become and what we want to be. And we're going to follow that. And that served us very well for the last number of years. But I would tell you this, At Subaru, we track and measure everything. And now what we also do know, we have the metrics, we have the research to show what impact this is actually making on our brand, what it is actually doing for consumers in terms of their opinion, their intention, and their actions. We have those metrics, and that's another can of worms that we can probably get into at some other point. But those metrics are very positive and impressive. And so now we have both parts, that doing all of this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's why we're going to continue doing it, because it's who Subaru and our retailers are, but is good for business. And we now know that.
And that's the ultimate, we all have people we report to, and you have CEOs and boards and the like, and they're like, this is great, but what does it mean for the bottom line?
That's exactly right. And now we have both of those.
Now you have both.
Correct.
That's a case study in itself. That's one of your chapters, by the way, as I'm ghostwriting your book.
All right. Chapter 7. We'll call it number 7.
All right. Last question. And I love this conversation, by the way, but outside of auto, what does Alan Bethke look for? What brands do you look at and go, I like what they're doing?
Oh, that's a great question. I think there are so many smart brands out there in so many different industries. And I like to look at brands that have done things in unique ways and reinvented themselves from kind of traditional ways of thinking about their business into new ways. So one that for me that kind of comes to mind is Lego. It's a very simple product. Anyone can copy it, right?
Yep.
It's not expensive. They don't have a moat. What I mean by that is there's nothing unique. There's nothing hard about a Lego, making a Lego, selling a Lego. So another company can do all of that. But Lego has found a way from an old company, a traditional, simple company and simple product, to expand their business in so many unique ways. Think about the different types of Lego sets. Think about Lego movies.
Yep.
Think about Lego video games. Think about Lego everything. And I just think that's incredible. So I take inspiration from, let's say, a company like that, a product like that, somebody thinking uniquely about their business and how they can expand in non-traditional ways, while also saying, hey, we're still making Legos, but we're going to expand the meaning of what Legos stand for and where we can connect with consumers. So I like that one.
They are definitely a case study.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were dead 3-5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a great resurrection story. And I too look at them as well for inspiration. Alan at Bethke, excuse me. Thank you again. Part 2. There's enough we're going to talk about part 3 because there's so many things we left hanging on the table, but we could just keep talking all day. But I want to thank you for welcoming me to Subaru headquarters, number one. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you always for your interest in Subaru. We appreciate it. And thank you for sharing our Subaru story.
Well, that wraps up another episode of the CMO Whisperer Show. I hope you shared this episode with your friends. And if you have not already, please subscribe to be kept up to date on all the latest episodes. And if you're so inclined, leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you.